Welcome everyone to another episode of Just Saying Football with Jack and Sean. I'm your host Sean Gann alongside my partner Jack Nicholas. We're here to bring you news, notes, weekly updates, and game analysis of your favorite teams from around the league. If you've not had the chance, go check out our website at justsayingfootball.com and follow us on Instagram at justsaying for article and video updates. Jack and I are in Miami. It is 80 degrees. It is beautiful.
Way better than Buffalo.
I love it. Much better than Buffalo. We are here to watch the Giants game. Let's jump right into the 4 p.m. games. Jacksonville Jaguars heading to Los Angeles, taking on the Rams. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, Rams losing 3 straight after we had a conversation literally about nobody being able to contend them, and now they come into a winnable matchup, which is really good for them. They have had a lot of struggles the last couple of weeks, but Jacksonville's playing a little bit better.
Yeah, defensively for sure. Both still losing 3 games straight. Not ideal. Still thought the Rams were going to win a lot, and they are not after starting out 7-1. This is a get-right game, I think, for Los Angeles. This is the moment where you have to kind of win the game, get back into your division, get back into the playoffs. We're looking at the 5th seed currently right now in the playoffs. That is not the kind of team that they are or where they should be. And Matthew Stafford not been playing well during these last 3 games. No. 61% completion, 839 yards, 5 for 5, touchdown, interception. The 3 games prior to that, 70% completion, 950 yards, 8-2 TD to interception ratio, playing at a much worse level currently.
Yeah, and he's had a lot of unfavorable matchups the last couple weeks. Darrell Henderson, Sean's guy, going to be out this week as well, looking like it's going to be a game-time decision. We know with these 4 p.m. games, they can be a little wonky, so watch out for him. It's probably going to be Sony Michel in the backfield, but still, I believe in Matthew Stafford enough for him to get it done. I don't think Jacksonville is much of a threat to this Rams team right now. I think the defense is going to be able to disrupt Trevor Lawrence enough and get the rookie off his game. So I'm going with the Rams with this one.
I'm definitely going with the Rams. This is a 2-9 Jaguars team coming into this one. If the Rams lose this one, you begin to worry about their playoff hopes. Moving on, Washington football team heading to Vegas, taking on the Raiders. Both teams won big this last weekend. Break this game down for us.
Yeah, so we got Derek Carr, obviously, on one side. He's going to be without Darren Waller this week. It's been official that he is out of this game. So Foster Moreau, who actually has had to step in once this year, is going to step in for Derek Carr. Hopefully Deshaun Jackson can help out because they don't have any deep threats, and he actually had a big touchdown last week on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that one was a big one. It was nice to see. He only had 1 with the Rams. Hopefully he gets another one this week. I think that was one of only 3 catches for him last week's game. You want to see him a little bit more involved than just the one big catch. Washington football team, they're in the playoffs. It's weird to say that, but they are currently the 7th seed. They are in it. They have a chance to actually even win the East if the Cowboys' winning and losing streak continues like this. Looking at this game, I'm going to stick with the Raiders. I like the way their defense has been playing all season. Their offense looks really good. Derek Carr currently leading the league in passing yards with 3,414 yards. He's looking really good. I think we've seen him continually growing each single year, and there's always question marks about whether or not they should move on. I think he's really showing this year that he's their franchise guy. With everything going on with the Raiders organization, you got to stick with Carr. Yeah,
I'm actually going to go with Washington on this one, which is shocking. I think that their defense has actually stepped up a lot since Chase Young got hurt. We're looking at them winning 3 straight. Antonio Gibson, 19 carries in that span of games. I mean, and he's had 25 in 2 of them. So, really looking for him to get involved like he did last week against Seattle. I think Terry McLaurin actually has a pretty good matchup this week. He's been, a beast with Taylor Heineke. Logan Thomas coming back. I'm kind of liking where this team is at. The Raiders got a very slim victory last week against the Cowboys on a short week. The Cowboys, were a little banged up in that game, and I think that, this week Washington's going to get it right, and they're going to win 4 straight, going right after, the Raiders this week. So I'm going with Washington, actually, on that one.
All right, I respect that. Moving on. AFC North battle. Baltimore Ravens heading out to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. Now, I mentioned this in the last game, the last video. The Steelers were not dominated. They were harassed last weekend by the Bengals. Now they have to face another AFC North competitor. Big news for them. TJ Watt back in the lineup coming off of the COVID reserve list. That is huge for their defense. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, oh man, I mean, we love when these 2 teams come together. I mean, I was looking at it yesterday. Lamar has actually only faced the Steelers twice in his whole career, and he's not had a good game, and coming off a 4-interception game last week, you have to have some worries about this Ravens team and where they are. We thought they were one of the more dominant teams in the league. We thought their running game was going to be right. They are the 2nd highest rushing team, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to get it done. This could be a tough defensive matchup for them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The Steelers defense, they're not necessarily the best the way that they once were just a few years ago, obviously with some changes, contract disputes, things like that. 25th in total yards, 12th against the pass, 28th against the rush, and 23rd in points allowed. It's not the Steelers' defense, like I mentioned just a few years ago. Lamar Jackson, after the game, came out and was like, I was playing like a rookie in that game. Took full responsibility for that game, and I think that they're ready to move on from that one, play a much better game. Marquise Brown always seems to have a big game against the Steelers. I expect him to continue. Look for a lot of Rashad Bateman, Freeman in that one, and of course Latavius Murray and just Jackson running the ball. So I'll stick with the Ravens in this one.
Yeah, I kind of like what Marquise Brown. You mentioned Marquise Brown, definitely a big factor this week. All 4 of Lamar's interceptions last week were targeting our guy Mark Andrews, always old reliable tight end. Last week not so much, and in the last 4 weeks, Marquise Brown has 10 targets and 5 catches in every game. He is definitely the wide receiver 1. You know, Bateman is back, but he is not the wide receiver 1. I think he adds extra compliments to this team. The Steelers, I trust Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool are going to have a big game this week. I do believe that they have a great matchup against this Ravens secondary that is letting up the most passing yards in the league. Good matchup for Big Ben, but not enough for me to believe that Lamar's not going to bounce back. As you said, he took responsibility last week. I think he's ready for a big game this week.
All right. Sorry, Steelers fans. Not mean to hurt your feelings at that. Moving on, San Francisco 49ers heading to Seattle, taking on the Seahawks. NFC West battle. A lot of interdivisional battles this weekend. Very interesting. 49ers coming off a huge win against my Minnesota Vikings last week. Put themselves as the 6th seed in the playoffs now. Vikings outside looking in. Yeah. What are your thoughts going into this one? Yeah, Seahawks struggling.
Seahawks are struggling. The last 6 to 7, they have dropped them all. The last 5 games they have played against San Francisco, it has been in Seattle's favor. Now we have seen them obviously make a huge shift this year. No running game. You can't trust Alex Collins to back up Russell Wilson. And DK Metcalf, only 1 catch last week. Not what you want to see, man.
No, DK Metcalf needs to get more involved. Obviously, like we've been talking about, Russell Wilson, finger injury, had the surgery, still coming back, not 100%. Obviously, this team is going to struggle when your best player is not at their best.
Absolutely.
And it's coming at the expense of the quarterback position. Just a few years ago, though, this was the game to watch. I don't know if everyone remembers. This was the game that ended up the 49ers winning the West, and they have a nice Super Bowl run, eventually lost in the Super Bowl. Yeah. But this game was like the game to watch, and now it's like, not even looking forward to this. I'm going to ride with San Francisco. The way that we have just watched the Seahawks lose a bunch of games, it hasn't looked pretty for them offensively. They don't look the same. Their defense isn't playing very well. And the 49ers looking great, even though they don't have Robert Saleh as the defensive coordinator. 6th in total yards, 6th in passing yards, 14th against the rush, and 12th in points. That's what you want to see, considering Robert Saleh is no longer your defensive coordinator. I'm sticking with the 49ers. They are in a position to make a playoff run. They know what's at stake. They were just in the playoffs 2 years ago, making the Super Bowl run. They're a veteran team. They'll get the win.
Yeah, I think that Jimmy Garoppolo has been playing well enough, not high scoring enough, because they've been giving the ball a lot to Deebo Samuel, but he'll be out this week. It's going to be relying on the quarterback and rookie running back Elijah Mitchell, who has had a great season. He's had 5.5 yards a carry, has 4 touchdowns on the ground. Jimmy Garoppolo only has 13 total passing touchdowns. Like I said, this isn't a huge, high-scoring offense, but they're winning these games. They beat Minnesota last week, strategizing. It's a Kyle Shanahan game, and maybe this could be the week that bounces back, but again, you can't trust him until you see him have that good game back from the injury, and we just have not seen that yet. So, for me, it has to be San Francisco, but I don't think it's going to be as pretty of a game as it once was. Like you were mentioning, their old rivalry, it's evolved into different teams now.
No, absolutely. If there is a trap game for Russ Wilson to come back, it would be against the 49ers in a key moment in their season. It would just be a Russ Wilson fashion. Moving on, Sunday night football action. Denver Broncos making their way out to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. Another divisional game, like we've mentioned.
Yeah.
Chiefs are in the playoffs, man. Just a while ago, we were talking about, are they going to make the playoffs? Are they not going to make the playoffs? And here they are. What are your thoughts on this one?
So, we're looking at Denver right now, who's had a shockingly good season. If they win this game, they'll be tied with Kansas City for the division lead. And we've seen the Chargers lose some important games. We've seen the Raiders lose the games. As I said, I'm predicting them to lose this week. So, it could be a huge game for Denver, but Kansas City has really picked it up the last couple of weeks.
No, they really have. Look, they're not getting the prettiest of wins, but they're getting wins, and that's what matters at the end of the day. It's not about are you putting up the most points, are you putting up the most yards. It's about is there a W in that column at the end of the game, and that's what they're doing. That's what matters. And their defense has vastly improved over the last few weeks. Steve Spagnuolo getting them back in check to what they once were. Still not great statistically because of the first start of their season, 23rd in total yards, 24th against the pass, 15th against the rush, and 13th in points allowed. But I think this is a game for Kansas City to try to bounce back. But I think I'm going to ride with the Broncos on this. There's going to be no Melvin Gordon. He's looking like he's doubtful. I don't expect him to play, although it'll be a game time decision. Keep your eyes on your phone at around 11 o'clock in the morning, 12 p.m.
Keep those fantasy lineups locked for Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, but I'm going to rock with the Broncos in this one. They dominated the Chargers last week. The defense looks really good. Patrick Surtain ran 22 miles per hour on that pick six. He was running off to the races. He's looking good. This defense looks good. I like Javonte Williams, the running back, the rookie. Yeah. I think that he can carry the workload. I think that this has been the moment he's been waiting for, and he's going to take it up against a fairly weak defense that, although they've been improving, he's going to show them why. the Kansas City Cheifs the first half of the season.
Yeah, I mean, Kansas City is low in when they they're not great at defense this year.
No.
It's obviously the offensive strength in the last 4 wins have come off of the strength of this, of one side of the ball. But now we're looking at, as you said, a disadvantage here. You have the rookie running back, but the rookie running back could, Javonte Williams, he's ready. He's been splitting carries with Melvin Gordon. He's been getting time. Their defense is great. I do trust Patrick Mahomes a little bit more in this one because he's had a 7-2 touchdown interception ratio. He's not turning the ball over like he was in the beginning of the season. That was what we were looking at and saying, wow, they're really struggling. They're really not the same. But they've kind of built themselves back. Clyde Edwards-Helaire came back, and they've been able to get it all done. For me, at the end of the day, Clyde Edwards-Helaire coming back, getting 60 yards and a touchdown. I'm confident in the Chiefs this week.
All right, I like it. I like some deferring picks. And moving on to our last one of the game. Sorry, everyone, for that. Monday Night Football. New England Patriots making their way out to Buffalo. Another divisional game, AFC East.
Yeah.
Patriots are in the front right now. Patriots are first place in the AFC
Scary
East.
stuff.
It is terrifying right now. We saw the Bills just a few weeks ago not play well, and then we obviously saw what they did on Thanksgiving Day, which was dominate the Saints. What are your thoughts on this one? Because this, to me, is a complete toss-up.
Yeah, it is, and that's why we got to break it down. I mean, with the way that Josh Allen played last week, but now you're looking at this is a real implication before they play one of the year for the division. I mean, this is a really good opportunity ahead of the Patriots while they're on this huge win streak. They have been absolutely dominant.
On the flip, this is a really good opportunity for the Patriots to get that much farther out in front of the Bills. I'm looking at these two defenses, man. This is where it's going to come down to. Bills, first in total yards allowed, second in passing yards allowed, 6th in rushing yards given up, and 2nd in points. Patriots, 4th in total yards, 3rd in passing yards, 20th in rushing yards. But the Bills don't run the ball a lot, and when they do, it's not great. And 1st in points allowed. These are literally the 1 and 2 or 1 and 4 teams in their respective categories.
Very true.
And the Bills just lost Tre'Davious White after he tore his ACL on Thanksgiving Day against the Saints. It's a huge loss for this team.
Huge loss. I mean, and Kendrick Bourne and Jacoby Myers are really stepping up as we saw them last year struggle with Cam Newton. Now they are really dominating with Mac Jones. And Kendrick Bourne wasn't there last year, and now you look at what he's been able to do. Like you said, their top corner is out. That hurts their defense in a huge manner. When you have a lockdown corner like Tre'Davious White, he can get you turnovers, who can shut down the side of the field. It's a big hit. For me, I mean, I'm looking at New England, how they've scored in this 7-game win streak. They've scored 24 points in every game, but they have not allowed 24 points in any game except for one of those games. So in the last 7 games, they've been just dominant on defense, getting the run game going with Stevenson, Harris. I'm loving what they're doing. They're healthy right now, and the Bills, they need to prove themselves in this one. But I'll go with the Patriots. I really do believe that they're going to step up in prime time, and Belichick's got them. He's ready to stop Diggs with J.C. Jackson. I see a lot of just more advantages on the Patriots defense, and when I see that, it's hard to pick against them.
Absolutely. Matthew Judon, 11.5 sacks on the season, looking really good. J.C. Jackson, the guy that you just mentioned, 7 interceptions on the season, just behind Trevon Diggs. Rookie Mac Jones looking like the offensive rookie of the year, 70.3% completion, 2,850 yards, 16-8 touchdown interception ratio. That ain't bad for the rookie.
Not bad.
I'm going with the Patriots. They're healthy. This is where Bill Belichick and this team puts it all together, and they make those deep playoff runs. They win Super Bowls and that kind of stuff. I'm not saying they're going to win a Super Bowl, but this is when this team has a tendency to just kick it all into high gear. I think the NFL should be worried that the Patriots are slightly back.
I mean, we're in Miami, and Miami, they know what happens when Belichick's got his hoodie on. It's December. I mean, Miami goes and gets them once a year, but the Bills have had a tough streak against the Patriots. With Josh Allen, they played well, but Mac Jones is a different game now. The Patriots, we have to look at them completely different. We said one weakness for them is their quarterback, and as you pointed out, obviously not.
Yeah, and he is an improvement, it seems like, as for the team as a whole and their offensive system. Not that Cam isn't a great player. It works a little bit better in the system that they have with Josh McDaniels, so gotta trust that. But thank everyone for tuning in. Thank everyone for checking us out. That's all the time that we have, and please stay tuned from everything that's gonna be happening at Hard Rock Stadium. We'll be updating you on our Instagram at Just Saying No GWJS.
Yeah, and always check us out, JustSayingFootball.com, Just Saying Football on YouTube, and as my partner mentioned, Just Saying No GWJS on Instagram for all your video and article updates. Thank you guys for checking us out.
Enjoy.